In this video, let us sketch a quadratic that is upside down. So sketch, and here is the equation. It will be negative x to the 2 plus 6x minus 9. So when we are asked to make a sketch, we are looking for we're looking to make a picture by hand. So here is the grid, and the y-axis, the x-axis, and since our leading coefficient, the a, is negative, our coefficients are, we get them by comparing what we have to the standard quadratic, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. So for us, a is the number in front of x squared, which happens to be negative 1, b is plus 6, c is negative 9. So once again, a is negative 1, b is 6, c is negative 9. So when we are making a sketch, we are asked to find three things. Before we do that, we determine if the parabola is opening up or down. Since our leading number is negative, it's opening down. So we are expecting to find something that may look like this, generally speaking. And when we are making the sketch to make this parabola accurate, we have to produce very specific data points. And the three things that we have to find is the y-intercept, that's this point, the place where the graph crosses the y-axis, and to find it, we make x number equal to 0. Second, we look for the x-intercept. There could be 1, there could be 2, there could be none. In our picture, there appears to be 2 of them. And to find them, we use quadratic formula. And on a sketch, here is quadratic formula. It's negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c, the whole quantity divided by 2 times a. So this is how we find these two dots. The last thing is the vertex, and the vertex is the tip of a parabola. This is our vertex, and it has the x and the y coordinates. The x coordinate can be found by looking at the front of the quadratic formula, which is here, negative b over 2a. If we look at that piece by itself, that gives us the x coordinate. So negative b over 2a is the x number. The y can be found by plugging in the x into our original equation. So let's do this process with our equation and see what our picture looks like. Usually when we are on a test or on a homework, the first thing that I would do, since I'm a visual learner, I would actually make a picture with a calculator and have a look at what it is. And then I would use my work by hand to confirm what I'm seeing with a calculator. But traditionally, we're supposed to do everything by hand and then use the calculator to confirm. So let's do it here with this example. So first thing, we're looking for the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, here is our original equation, is negative 1. And to find the y-intercept, we're making x equals 0. So if x is 0, that means 0 squared plus 6 times 0 minus 9, which makes negative 9. So for us, here is our grid, and the y-intercept happens to be negative 9, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Somewhere here is where we would cross the y-axis. That's the first part. The second part is the x-intercept. The x-intercept is found by making y equals 0, and if we do this, we have to solve 0 equals negative x squared plus 6x minus 9. Now that, at this point, we're using quadratic formula. Our a is negative 1, b is 6, c is negative 9. Substituting all of these values into quadratic formula, we get negative, that came with a formula, then the b, which is 6, plus minus square root b squared minus 4 times a, which is negative 1, times c, which is negative 9, and the whole quantity divided by 2 times a, which is negative 1. So we can simply put all of it in the calculator. Everything that is under square root can be put in the calculator. The square root is also called a discriminant. Sometimes that name is used. 6 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 9 happens to be 0. Lovely. Square root of 0 is 0. That makes things a lot easier. Negative 6 plus minus square root of 0, which is 0, divided by 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, leaving us with negative 6 over negative 2, which is 3. So we have just one x-intercept, and it happens to be 3. 1, 2, 3. Somewhere here is our x-intercept. The last thing is the vertex. Now the vertex is the x and y coordinate, and the x is found by looking at negative b over 2a, which we just computed, and it happened to be 3. So our vertex also happens to be here. Well, the y-coordinate of it happens to be 0. We know that because we are looking at it. But if we were to find it, we would take this x number and substitute it back into our original equation. And so original equation was negative x to the 2 plus 6x minus 9. So replacing every x with a 3, we would get negative 3 squared plus 6 times 3 minus 9. Well, 3 squared is 9, so that's negative 9 plus 18 minus 9. And that actually happens to be 0 because 9 minus 9 is negative 18 plus 18 is 0. So we have found all of our information, and it's a parabola that's opening down and going through this negative 9 like this. So that's approximately what the sketch looks like with everything labeled. Now let's do it with a calculator and see how close or far we really are. So here is the original, negative x to the 2 plus 6x minus 9, and here comes the picture. Eventually, there it is. So the picture says that it actually looks fairly close. Here it is, and if we count 1, 2, 3, that actually is 3, 0, and it crosses at negative 9. So it actually is exactly correct. We can find this point with a calculator if we wish. We go to second calculate. It's the highest point, which is the maximum, and we just simply need to point the cursor to the left side and then move it to the right side and hit the enter, and then guess in the middle. The answer is 2.99 something or other, many decimals, but the actual answer is 3, and we know that to be 3. So once again, that's the advantage of knowing how to do things by hand, because the calculator can only approximate, and sometimes it's spot on and sometimes it's a bit off, but by hand is, if done correctly, by hand is 100% accurate. So that's why we have to know both ways. And that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care.